thought I could beat him, so tried not to look too much of what the fight would present to me when I win, but just focusing on the fight itself and setting a good game plan and then just sticking to it. Not really. I like the belt. Really, it's not that. I like the matchups. Styles make fights, and I like the different challenges that I just try and be the same. Fought Volk here, and that was an incredible event. And I think just made to add on to that, give someone else a shot at Makhachev.
I say Islam. And the reason why I say Islam is because I feel like Belal, he went out there when he fought Jack, and he went out there trying to prove the fans that he can strike, which I think that kind of hurt him. I feel like if Belal went out there and did what he did to, what's his name? Leon Edwards, I think he probably would have had a better chance of getting the win, but it seemed like he just wanted to show people that he had with Canelo hands, which sometimes you don't need to prove anybody anything. You're the champion. You don't have to prove anything to somebody who's gonna fight your game. If they stop it, then we move on to something different. But I think Islam is that type of guy where he's not gonna be scared to take you down or shoot repetitively, almost in that Khabib-esque type of feel. But I guess we'll see. You know what they say, styles make fights.
The one that you're asking me is my coaches and the guys I'm down here with. We had a little bit of an argument. I actually had taken JDM in that fight just due to the fact that, for one, I think a lot of people aren't thinking enough about the fact that Islam's moving up on this weight in really short notice. Because as far as I know, Islam was waiting for the results of the Belal and JDM fight, and that fight was like 2 months ago, or 3 months ago or something like that. So it's like it's not like he's had a bunch of time to move up to welterweight. There's no way he's put on any real muscle. Like, he might have put on like 2 pounds of muscle in the amount he hasn't had any time to do so. So I think there's going to be a side.
Jack Della Maddalena is not holding back as the countdown to UFC 322 continues, and his words in a recent interview have stirred up even more anticipation for what could be one of the most intriguing matchups of the year. He isn't simply treating this as just another fight, but also not overhyping it in his own mind. Instead, he's threading the line between confidence and composure, sending a clear message that he is ready to test Islam Makhachev in ways the lightweight champion has never experienced before. From his calm dismissal of extra pressure to his pointed references about Islam's past opponents, Jack's tone carried the unmistakable weight of someone who knows he belongs at this level. He may be the rising star, but he's already talking like someone who sees himself as the rightful figure to write the next chapter of Islam's story. When asked about what this fight means, Jack made it clear that he doesn't obsess over belts or labels. For him, it's about matchups, about styles, and about what each new opponent forces him to solve. That's why his focus remains firmly on the techniques and adjustments rather than the prestige of titles. It was a subtle but important reminder that he views Islam not as an untouchable champion, but as just another challenge, albeit a unique and formidable one. And while he acknowledged Islam's run at lightweight, including the high-profile clash with Alexander Volkanovski, Jack's framing of those moments almost positioned himself as the natural successor in that storyline. Volkanovski tested Islam in ways few thought possible, and now Jack is aiming to be the man who pushes the puzzle further. Jack's confidence in this fight has not gone unnoticed by analysts and fighters alike. Elijah Smith, for instance, would immediately lean toward Islam as the likely winner, citing the champion's discipline and refusal to fight outside of his strengths. Elijah pointed out how some fighters, like Belal Muhammad in his own bout, have sometimes strayed from their bread and butter just to prove a point to fans. That kind of error, he argued, is something Islam never makes. Instead, he sticks to his relentless game plan, hammering his opponent with takedowns until the will is broken. Elijah described it as Khabib-like pressure, a constant suffocation that opponents rarely escape. From his perspective, that discipline is exactly why Islam remains so dangerous no matter who stands in front of him, but not everyone shared that view. Julius Walker went in the opposite direction, placing his confidence squarely in Jack Della Maddalena. His reasoning was blunt: size matters, and Islam hasn't had the proper time to truly grow into welterweight. Julius argued that moving up in such a short window after lightweight success leaves Islam undersized and potentially underpowered compared to Jack. He even asked fans to consider whether Islam could realistically dominate Jack on the feet, because in his mind, that answer was a clear no. To Julius, Islam's grappling advantage may not even be as overwhelming as many believe, especially when compared to the current welterweight elite. And when you factor in Jack's own strengths, longer reach, heavier frame, knockout power, and world-class training partners like Craig Jones, the picture starts to look very different. Julius was not alone in that assessment. Craig Jones himself, who has been working closely with Jack, expressed real confidence in the matchup. He pointed back to Islam's first fight with Volkanovski, where the Australian was able to create problems in grappling exchanges that most thought were impossible. If Islam struggled there, Craig argued, then facing someone like Jack, who brings a far more unorthodox, creative style on the mat, could be an even greater problem. He emphasized Jack's ability to break grips, create scrambles, and use unorthodox techniques that are extremely difficult to prepare for. On top of that, he highlighted the size difference, pointing out that Jack will be noticeably bigger and stronger inside the cage. For Craig, this is precisely the kind of fight where Islam's usual dominance could be exposed. The discussion didn't stop there. Sean Brady weighed in with his own perspective, calling it a tougher fight for Islam than many people are willing to admit. He highlighted something fans often overlook. It's not just about taking Jack down, it's about keeping him there. Brady explained that Jack's ability to create scrambles and get back to his feet makes him a nightmare to control, even for high-level wrestlers. And with his size and striking power, every second he spends on his feet is another chance to deliver fight-ending damage. Brady admitted he personally wants Islam to win so that he can eventually test himself against the champion. But in this specific matchup, his pick leaned toward Jack because of the unique stylistic problems he presents. As these opinions circulated, Luke Thomas added another layer of intrigue. He described this fight as the right matchup at the right time, a clash that feels destined to answer the questions fans have been asking since Islam's dominance at lightweight became undeniable. Luke praised Jack's improvements in takedown defense and his ability to handle pressure, crediting his work with Craig Jones as a major factor. The fact that Jack now has a full camp with Jones, rather than just a few weeks as in the past, makes his ground game even more dangerous. But Luke also raised the unknown surrounding Islam's move to welterweight. How would his skills translate without the draining weight cut? Would the extra size of opponents be too much to handle? Or would Islam's efficiency and control carry over seamlessly? These mysteries add even more fuel to an already fiery narrative. Beyond the techniques and size debates, the stakes in this fight extend far deeper than a simple win or loss. For Islam, a victory at UFC 322 means the possibility of capturing a second division and staking his claim as one of the greatest of this era. It would open discussions about pound-for-pound supremacy and cement his reputation as a fighter who could dominate across divisions. For Jack, however, a win would not only be the first defense of his title, but also the defining moment of his career, a victory that would propel him into the global spotlight and deliver a massive moment for Australian MMA. Both outcomes hold tremendous weight, and that is why this fight has captured so much attention worldwide. As the event approaches, fans can't help but dissect every detail: Jack's composure, Islam's discipline, the size dynamics, the grappling exchanges. All of it feels like a chess match waiting to explode into violence. Some see Islam's grinding approach as unstoppable, while others believe Jack's unique style is precisely the antidote. Both sides have convincing arguments, which is why the anticipation only grows stronger. This isn't just another fight on the card, it's a true collision of legacies, styles, and ambitions. What makes it even more compelling is how each man represents a different story in the sport. Islam, the dominant lightweight who rose under the guidance of Khabib Nurmagomedov, is now chasing history by stepping up in weight. Jack, the hungry champion with a sharp edge and confidence, is standing his ground, determined to show that welterweight is his kingdom. That clash of narratives is why fans around the world are glued to every interview, every training update, and every speculation. In the end, UFC 322 is shaping up to be far more than just a title fight. It's a showdown that asks the biggest questions about both fighters' futures. Can Islam carry his dominance to a higher weight class? Or will Jack expose the limits of his style? Can Jack stop the relentless takedowns, or will Islam's suffocating control smother him like so many before? These questions will only be answered inside the cage, but the buildup has already given fans one of the most compelling fight narratives in recent memory, and no matter the result, the aftermath will change the trajectory of two careers in ways that go far beyond a single night in the Octagon. One more layer of intrigue comes from the fact that both fighters seem unfazed by the magnitude of the moment. Jack has downplayed the pressure of being champion, brushing it off as just another fight, while Islam has always carried himself with the calm of someone who trusts his preparation. Yes. Now, this contrast creates a fascinating dynamic. Two men who don't appear rattled by the spotlight, yet both know the winner walks away with a legacy-altering victory. That quiet confidence on both sides makes the matchup even more unpredictable, because neither fighter is entering with fear, they're entering with conviction. At the same time, the ripple effect of this bout stretches far beyond the two fighters. A victory for Islam could reshape the landscape of two divisions, sparking super fights and title challenges that would keep fans buzzing for years. A victory for Jack would crown him not only as a champion, but as a true giant slayer, elevating his star power and drawing attention from around the globe. UFC 322 isn't just a contest of skills, it's a battle that could redefine the balance of power in the sport, and that's why fans are calling it one of the most important fights of the year.